Good evening and welcome to this edition of HPU All Access on Wednesday, October 14th. I'm Thomas Hart.
And I'm Emily Nagle.
A woman is being charged for faking her son's death for money.
And what was an exciting night on a party bus faced a tragic and unexpected end. But first, we head over to meteorologist Reese Allen for a snapshot of our local weather. Reese?
Thank you, Emily. I'm Reese Allen bringing you this week's weather report. So, looking across the board at our weekly temperatures, you can see today that we had a high of 74, and as we go on throughout the week, our temperatures are going to decline into the lower 60s, and then they're going to rise again as we go on into next week. We have partly cloudy skies, and now moving on to our next temperatures. We're going to be looking at our regional temperatures in North Carolina. So looking down the board, you can see temperatures are kind of scattered in the 70s as they rise a little bit in the middle in the 80s. But now moving on to our national temperature, you can see across the board here, temperatures are kind of scattered and are a little bit higher than what we're normally used to for this time of year. But overall, we're just looking forward to more of that fall weather. Back to you guys at the desk.
A 33-year-old woman has been charged with allegedly creating a fake GoFundMe for her 4-year-old son. Holly Garcia created the post with the intention of raising funds for her son's funeral. Authorities were alerted when Garcia's 4-year-old son had not passed. Rather, he was put up for adoption by his mother. Further investigation reveals that Garcia has illegally requested nearly $12,000 through other campaigns. Officials say Garcia has not received any of the money.
A Greensboro party bus was deadly on Friday, October 9th. 2 people are dead after a shooting broke out on the bus that night, and 3 people were shot, with 1 victim dead at the scene and others pronounced dead at a local hospital. The suspect was on the bus and is in the hospital with injuries. The investigation is ongoing. And now it's time to head over to Morgan Kauffman to tell us what's going on around our campus. Morgan?
Thanks, Thomas and Emily. Hey everyone, I'm Morgan Kauffman, and these are your campus updates for the week. On Monday, October 12th, High Point University started their Arena Eats preview, where students will be given the chance to sample potential Arena Eats, suggest a name for these creations, and vote on their favorite. This event will be held until Friday, October 16th, and is from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. every day outside Wannick. I know I'm super excited to try the apple cider slushies on Thursday. Don't forget to check out Campus Concierge emails to view the rest of the week's menus. Are you starting to apply for graduate school and have questions you need answers to? The Career and Professional Development Office is hosting a graduate school panel this Friday at noon, located in Kushner Ballroom in Cottrell. Lastly, Friday, October 16th is National Chocolate Cupcake Day. The CAF will be handing out cupcakes all day from 10:45 a.m. to 3 p.m. I can't wait to taste how delicious they are going to be. That's all I have for campus updates this week. Back to you, Emily and Thomas.
Thanks, Morgan. We'll be right back after these messages.
High Point University is focused on preparing students for the world as it is going to be. There's a growth mindset in our institutional DNA. So while our campus growth is impressive, the true relevance lies in how HPU creates an innovative learning environment that fosters the entrepreneurial spirit in the minds, in the hearts, and in the souls of our students. This is High Point University. Extraordinary.
Welcome to Freddy's. How are you guys doing?
Meetings.
Lunch meetings all week, all salads.
Bean salads. Quinoa salads.
Heirloom salads.
Frisee salads.
Sometimes a guy needs a Freddy's Original Double, Chicago Dog, and a Turtle Sundae.
Make that 2, please.
3.
Absolutely.
If you're gonna be bad, it better be good. Being bad never tasted this good. Freddy's, the experience that puts a smile on your face and the taste that brings you back.
Welcome to Freddy's. What can we get started for you?
I haven't had a carb in 3 weeks, and if I have one more sip of a kale smoothie, I need a Freddy's Original Double with cheese, fries, and a turtle sundae. Please.
Coming right up.
If you're gonna be bad, it better be good. Being bad never tasted this good.
Bring it on.
Freddy's, the experience that puts a smile on your face and the taste that brings you back.
Musco Lighting. We make it happen.
Welcome back to HPU All Access. I'm Emily Nagle. It is time to head over to All Access Sports with Ethan Smith. How's the sports world this week, Ethan?
Thank you, Emily. How's it going, everybody? I'm Ethan Smith, and this is your All Access Sports Update. The NFL has begun to relax some of its restrictions on fans entering the stadiums for games, and these NFL teams certainly put on a show. To start off, rookie wide receiver Chase Claypool had a career performance in only his 4th NFL game, going off for 116 total yards of offense and 4 total touchdowns in the Steelers' 38-29 win against the Eagles. Steven Nelson also had 2 interceptions as the Steelers remain undefeated and atop the AFC North. One team that did not stay undefeated was the Kansas City Chiefs, oddly enough. They were taken down by the Las Vegas Raiders by a score of 40-32. A few fun facts going into the game. Over the last 5 years, the Chiefs were 27-2 against the AFC West. Pat Mahomes was 4-0 against the Raiders, and Derek Carr was 0-6 in his career against the Chiefs. A huge day for Las Vegas, so maybe they're a sleeper team in the AFC after all. A team that isn't a sleeper is the Atlanta Falcons, who dropped to 0-5 for the first time since 1997. Head coach Dan Quinn and Thomas Dimitroff were both fired after the loss. DC Raheem Morris was introduced as the interim head coach, so we'll have to see who Arthur Blank puts in place to turn the team around in the long term. The Baltimore Ravens had a whopping 7 sacks and 15 quarterback hits against the Bengals as they trounced Cincinnati 27-3. Joe Burrow tried his best. When you get dropped 7 times, it can be hard to perform. And to cap off some of the biggest games, the Thursday night game between Chicago and Tampa Bay ended in controversy as Tom Brady threw an incompletion 20 yards downfield on 4th down in the game's final moments, and the Bears won 20-19. Tom Brady looked a little confused as to what down it was, and him and Bruce Arians both tried making excuses post-game. But in all honesty, guys, it's okay if you make mistakes. Trying to make excuses is only going to make it worse. Next week should be very interesting, especially with all the COVID cases popping up around the NFL. The Los Angeles Lakers are NBA champions for the 17th time in franchise history. The Heat didn't go down without a fight, though, especially after a monster performance from Jimmy Butler in Game 5. The Heat forward had another triple-double and played all but 48 seconds of Game 5 as he carried Miami to a 111-108 nail-biting victory that ended in a missed three-pointer from Danny Green that could have put the Lakers ahead. Social media was a frenzy after the shot, and due to it being wide open with such high stakes, fans had a pretty good reason. Butler, after the game, did say the Game 6 would be harder to win, and boy was he right. The Lakers dominated Game 6 with LeBron James putting up a triple-double and securing Los Angeles another NBA title and himself a 4th MVP. Watching the game, Lakers fans or not, there was no doubt in anyone's mind that Kobe Bryant was looking down smiling. All too perfect that the Lakers were able to get the job done. To wrap things up, on the HPU student talk show Point Blank last week, I predicted a Yankees versus Padres World Series. Boy, was I wrong, as both teams were eliminated in the semifinal round of the MLB playoffs. The ALCS and the NLCS are set with the Tampa Bay Rays versus the Houston Astros in the American League and the Atlanta Braves taking on the red-hot LA Dodgers in the National League. Game 1 in the ALCS was Sunday with Tampa Bay taking a narrow 2-1 victory. Houston started strong with a run in the first, but a strong 4th and 5th inning from Tampa Bay sealed the deal for the Rays. Games 2 and 3 were both Tampa Bay wins as well, with the Rays taking 4-2 and 5-2 wins to maintain their 3-0 lead. In the NLCS, the Braves took a 2-0 lead heading into Game 3. The Braves had a strong 5-1 performance in Game 1, and they held off a late Dodgers push to secure an 8-7 Game 2 victory. Game 3 is taking place as we speak, with the Dodgers rolling with a 12-0 lead so far. That's all for sports I have this week. Back to you, Emily.
Thank you, Ethan. With now only 20 days until the general election, let's head over to Grant and David for All Access Politics.
Welcome back to All Access Politics. I'm Grant Hines.
And I'm David Kleinschuster. This week we want to focus on one main topic related to voting in this election. But first, let's recap last week's first and only vice presidential debate. So let's get into it. Grant, what are your thoughts?
Well, just like the first presidential debate, there was a lot of avoiding of answers by both questions, especially Kamala Harris, but a lot of interrupting as well, like we saw in the first presidential debate. Particularly when Kamala Harris was asked about Supreme Court packing, she dodged that question like a bullet. But
concur to that.
Yeah, as far as avoiding questions, Mike Pence, in particular to COVID, would often divert his questions given to him about corona to the swine flu pandemic.
Now, I just want to interject there. He only did that after 5 minutes of stating everything that was done by the Trump administration. So that was the last point he made, so I want to shut that down right there. He's talked about how Trump, shut down in the very beginning when there were 5 cases involved, and Biden opposed that decision and called Trump a xenophobic individual because of this decision, which by then, if Trump did not shut down the economy, this is from Dr. Burke's specialty in the CDC. He said we could have lost 2.2 million Americans, and right now we are sitting at a tragic 210,000, which still is terrible, but we could be sitting at that if that wasn't there. Now, it wouldn't be if Trump stepped forward. We also had people like Nancy Pelosi who stepped into the streets of New York City and told people to gather in the streets. So I really want to know, is it truly Trump's fault because he shut down the economy, whereas the Democratic leader stood by and invited people all to celebrate?
About that shutdown that barred people from China coming to the country, experts, including Dr. Fauci, have said that it came too late, and not everybody was barred from that shutdown. I believe U.S. citizens could still come to the country from China. So while I do agree that a shutdown is effective, why not bar everyone from coming to the country?
And that's what he did. He shut it down after 5 confirmed cases. Now, he pulled everybody from around the world back into the United States because they're United States citizens. Why would we want people in a pandemic to be out in other countries? We would want them here so we can provide for them.
But they still might have corona.
So we bring them back. Yes, we go into the shutdown, but that still saves the 2.2 million lives that could have been lost if Trump didn't shut down at that moment.
Okay, well, we have to move on. So some false claims that I want to bring up by Pence was that the Obama administration left the national stockpile for pandemics empty. He said PPE wasn't included, but that is true. Some PPE, like masks, were left empty in that stockpile. But there were around 16,000 ventilators, which Trump has credited himself for acquiring, but they were already there. And he also disbanded the pandemic response team as well.
So, and pandemic response team in which way?
Well, he just totally disbanded the White House pandemic response team. He just totally disbanded it, a team that Obama created to prevent future widespread outbreaks of pandemic after the swine flu.
Just because they're not in the White House doesn't mean they exist. There's always an active team which is involved to watch over this. This is an international
Medical
issue.
Experts have said, though, if that team were still to be in place, even though after it was disbanded, they were dispersed, that having that team in place in the White House would streamline and clarify a lot of the information.
Okay, well, Trump also received false information from China. China reported that it was under control. So unfortunately at this time, he trusted China because they were under control. This is why we have an issue with China. It's not because we're xenophobic, it's because they're lying. All right, so there's so many issues that are involved, and vice versa. We can't blame one man for responsibility. There's so many factors. Yep. Do I know if Trump is responsible? I don't know. Yeah. But if there is proof of that, I would believe it. But the evidence just shows there's too many sides to report this.
And quickly, before we get to mail-in ballots here, Pence claimed that America's water and air are the cleanest they have ever been, which is true, in defense of his opposition to the Green New Deal, which was brought up in the debate. But it is not because of Trump's eras that they are Trump era policies that the water and air are the cleanest they have ever been. In fact, Trump has rolled back nearly, as of May 2020, 64 environmental policies, including pulling out of the Paris Climate Accord. And Pence has claimed that the administration will follow the science when it comes to science claim, while Trump has been quoted by saying in a recent visit to California during the wildfires that he doesn't think the science knows.
Okay, well, with that, he's also done the Outdoors Act, which has planted hundreds of thousands of trees in all areas. Yes, he pulled out of the Paris Accord because that was holding us back. So we do have the greatest. One of his first statements he made,
Holding us back how? Holding us back. How is the Paris Climate Accord holding us back?
So those policies, all right, we're holding it back with funding, all right. So with NATO, all right, we provide so much, but we don't receive in return. Mm-hmm. So yes, sometimes we have to be friends. Of course, doesn't mean be friendly.
But we're the biggest country, or we're the wealthiest country in the world. Why not? Why not contribute the most?
So we can contribute as much as we want, but first our needs are taken here. And so his focus is to focus on Americans here. Which one thing I want to bring up to this point is what does Biden have in store for the American people? In a post today from the New York Post, there has been reports that the Hunter Biden's emails have been confiscated by the FBI, reporting that he has been in conflict and contact with Russian leaders as well as with Joe Biden involved as well. So Joe Biden has pressured Ukrainian President Petro Poroshenko and Prime Minister Arseniy Yatsenyuk into getting rid of a prosecutor named Viktor Shokin by threatening to withhold $1 billion in guarantee in 2015. And this is a direct quote from Joe Biden. I looked at him and said, I'm leaving in 6 hours, all right? If the prosecutor is not fired, you're not getting the money. Now, this prosecutor, Shokin, had said that before his firing in March 2016, he had made specific plans to investigate Burmisa, and it included interrogations and other crime investigation procedures into all members of the executive board, including Hunter Biden.
Okay, I don't know what that has to do with climate, but we got to move on here to talk about mail-in ballots with the election being just 20 days away. Trump has claimed for a while now that, without evidence, that mail-in ballots lead to voter fraud in this election. But states like Colorado, Hawaii, Oregon, Utah, and Washington have opted to conduct all elections by mail, Oregon being since 1995. They've done the all mail-in elections. In the 2016 election, Trump's first running, in Oregon, there were 10 convictions out of a possible 56 suspected cases out of 2,051,448 votes cast, which means that 0.0000224% of ballots may have been fraudulent. So I guess the question I have for you, being on the right, is why didn't Trump tout this widespread voter fraud in 2016 when states have been doing these all mail-in elections for a while now?
Because we weren't dependent on mail-in elections, all right? So we can't speak for that, but there's been fraudulence since forever. There's never been a single one that hasn't had fraudulence. You said there's a percentage. If we as Americans believe, okay, small. So if you want to say very small, don't all of our votes matter? Exactly. And that's the question we have to ask here. So 300 ballots have been harvested from supporters of Ilhan Omar. This happened just last week, and allegedly she is involved. All those voters were voting for Donald Trump. Let's not forget 3 trays of mail were found discarded, and all ballots were voted for Donald Trump. And this was in Pennsylvania. So I do not believe at all that this is a fair election if we could do it by mail-in ballot, because the idea is we can register to vote in mail, so we can vote in person, but we can also fill out that ballot, all right? So, and there's too much time to go through and count the ballots.
But a lot of these ballots are being managed by the Postal Service, and we got to go here. But one more thing I want to point out is these ballots are being managed by the Postal Service after they're handed in, and the Postal Service is run under Trump's government. So why is he defunding and slowing down Postal Service if the fraud seems like it's coming from the Postal Service?
Because 3 whole trays of mail was found discarded from the USPS in a ditch. So just because they may operate under Donald Trump's government doesn't mean that individuals can make their own say in what they do with these ballots.
Fair point.
It's up to the individual.
Okay, that is a fair point. But that is all the time we have for All Access Politics this week. And please remember to vote however and whichever way works for you this election. And for more voter resources on that, please visit TurboVote on HPU Connect for our HPU students, or if you don't go to HPU, visit vote.org.
And after you vote, don't forget to join us right here on HPU All Access on the night of November 3rd for our election night special, including coverage, analysis, and results of this year's general election. For all things Access Politics, I'm David Kleinschuster.
And I'm Grant Hines. Back to you, Emily.
Thank you, Grant and David. Now it is time to head over to our entertainment specialist, Riley Mannion, to give the inside scoop on all things entertainment. Riley.
Thanks, Emily. Hey, everyone. It's Riley back with your entertainment news. Last night was the long-awaited return of the hit series, The Bachelorette. This season is promised to be the most dramatic and most shocking season ever. The lead of this season, Claire Crawley, is 39 years old and says this is her last chance at love. Throughout the promos for this season, longtime host Chris Harrison explains how this season is unlike anything we've ever seen before, and the cast is seen to be distraught with the possibility of the season ending early, being mentioned multiple times. With only the first episode airing last night, we have to wait and see what this journey means for Claire and if all of the rumors are true after all. Another long-awaited season premiere is approaching. The return of E's hit reality show Total Bellas will be coming back this November for its 6th season. This season will follow Nicole and Bree's pregnancies through the uncertainties of the COVID-19 pandemic. It promises drama, love, laughs, and tears for the audience. The new season of Total Bellas premieres November 12th on E! The annual Billboard Music Awards takes place tonight after being postponed due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Originally set to air on April 29th, the BBMAs are finally returning with Kelly Clarkson as the host for the 3rd year in a row. Kelly Clarkson will also be performing tonight, along with singer John Legend, amongst others. Post Malone leads with the most nominations this year with 16, followed closely by the likes of Billie Eilish, Khalid, and Lil Nas X. Tune in to NBC tonight at 8 to watch the Billboard Music Awards live from the Dolby Theater in Los Angeles. That's all I have for entertainment news this week. Be sure to tune in next week for the latest updates. We'll be right back after this break.
Sheets run and done.
I'll have the langoustine lobster ravioli.
For you, sir?
The original call was for langoustine ravioli. Langoustine is a tiny kind of lobster. Slight shellfish allergy rules that out. Plus, my wife ordered the langoustine. I will have chicken tenders and tater tots.
If you're a ref, you way over-explain things. It's what you do. If you want to save 15% or more on car insurance, you switch to Geico.
Sir, we don't have tater tots.
It's what you do.
I will have nachos.
Welcome to Freddy's. How are you guys doing?
Meetings.
Lunch meetings all week, all salads.
Bean salads.
Quinoa salads.
Heirloom salads.
Frisee salads.
Sometimes a guy needs a Freddy's Original Double, Chicago Dog, and a Turtle Sundae.
Make that 2, please.
3.
Absolutely.
If you're gonna be bad, it better be good. Being bad never tasted this good. Freddy's, the experience that puts a smile on your face and the taste that brings you back.
Welcome to Freddy's. What can we get started for you?
I haven't had a carb in 3 weeks, and if I have one more sip of a kale smoothie, I need a Freddy's Original Double with cheese, fries, and a turtle sundae. Please.
Coming right up.
If you're gonna be bad, it better be good. Being bad never tasted this good.
Bring it on.
Freddy's, the experience that puts a smile on your face and the taste that brings you back.
Welcome back to HPU All Access on October 14th. I'm Thomas Hart.
And I'm Emily Nagle. Let's head over to Rachel Diodato as she interviews a special guest on our student highlight. Rachel.
Hello, my name is Rachel Diodato, and this is Student Highlight of HPU All Access. I'll be interviewing Gabriela Materis, a member of the Pedal Points, High Point University's premier female all-a-cappella group. So Gab, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Can you tell us a little bit about what position you hold in Pedal Points and what it kind of consists of?
Yeah, so I'm the music director of the Pedal Points all-female a cappella group on campus. And basically my job is I run all the rehearsals, I arrange all of the music, I schedule all of the recordings, and I'm all in charge of our concerts as well. So basically everything music related, that's my job.
Very cool. And why did you decide to join the Pedal Points?
So in high school, well, I'm a music major, and in high school I was really involved in a cappella. I was the president for 2 years, and I just wanted to get involved on campus. And so my freshman year, literally in August, I went to the activities fair, and I was like, this is the group I want to be in. And ever since then, I auditioned, and only 3 people got in. It was insane, and that's where I started, yeah.
Very cool. And what big things does the Pedal Points have coming?
Okay, well, I can't really say, but like, I'll give you a little. So we actually record albums, and we also do the ICCA's, the college a cappella competition. But this spring, due to COVID and everything, obviously that's not gonna really happen. And so we do have recording coming up, and we are going to be recording 8 songs for a new album that will be coming out next year, hopefully. So I'm really excited about that.
Very nice. And do you have auditions coming up soon, or is it because of COVID?
We do. We do have auditions coming up. They're actually due October 25th, and you send in a video of any song that you want for 60 seconds. And yeah, and then we're gonna have callbacks, and hopefully we get a lot of girls, and I'm really excited about it.
Great. And what advice do you have for someone who may be auditioning or thinking about auditioning?
The advice that I can really give to anybody is come in with like the song that really represents who you are as a person, and the song that really is good for your voice part. So if you're a soprano, come in with, you know, a song that really just makes your voice stand out, something completely different that nobody's really ever heard before. So, yeah.
Cool. And is there anything else you'd like to add that I didn't already ask?
No, not that I have, but just remember that we have auditions coming up, and I'm really excited about it. So, yeah.
Okay, no, thank you so much for joining us today, Gabriella. That's all we have for Student Highlight this week. Be sure to join us next week. Back to you, Thomas and Emily in the studio.
Thanks, Rachel. Now it's time to head over to Meredith Haddock for our coronavirus update. Meredith?
Thanks, Thomas. Hey, everyone. I'm Meredith Haddock here to give you your COVID-19 update. Unfortunately, President Trump and the First Lady are still battling their diagnosis of COVID-19. However, it has been reported that the president is no longer considered contagious, and his recovery process is slow but steady by the New York Times. In North Carolina, the cases have continued to increase, as it is now at 235,000 positive cases with around 3,800 deaths. Nationwide, we are also continuing to see those numbers increase to now what is 7.91 million cases. And rumor has it that the state of New York is reaching a new record of positive cases with around 481,000, with Governor Andrew Cuomo debating shutting down the state once again. But here on High Point's campus, we are so happy to see those numbers stay in the 30s. As of today, Wednesday, October 14th, the number of positive cases at HPU is 36, with 12 students expected of having COVID-19 and are awaiting their test results. So let's make sure to keep on practicing the 3 W's: wear, wait, and wash. Make sure to always wear a mask, stay at least 6 feet away from other people, and wash your hands. That's all I have for you today on COVID-19. Back to you, Thomas and Emily.
Thanks, Meredith. The fly that caught the nation's attention is already being put on a wig just in time for Halloween. The country was captivated by the fly that landed on Vice President Mike Pence's head during last Tuesday's vice presidential debate. TV reporters even clocked the time that the fly was on the head, reporting it was a whole 2 minutes and 2 seconds, and an online retailer, 3 Wishes, has listed the wig for $49.95 with the promise that it will make it to your doorstep before Halloween. Democratic nominee Joe Biden has also jumped in on the fun, listing a Truth Over Flies fly swatter on his store for $10.
A 17-year-old girl from Texas broke 2 Guinness World Records for having the longest legs as a female and as a teenager, with the longest legs according to Guinness World Records. Macy Curran's left leg is over 53 inches long, while her right leg is 52.874 inches long. Macy is 6'10" and tells people to not be ashamed if you are tall, but instead embrace it.
Well, that's all we have for you tonight on HPU All Access. Tune in again next week, same time, same place. For HPU All Access, I'm Thomas Hart.
And I'm Emily Nagle. Have a great week, High Point.